Opposers, I love Jesus. Sometimes we take weekend trips together to the beach, and people say, but Jordan, there are only one set of footprints in the sand. And I say, yes, that's because Jesus carries me to my ATV. And then I tear up all over that beach. But sometimes the sand dunes of life's challenges are too big for the ATV of solutions. And when that happens, I let Jesus take the wheel. We have a crisis in America, and I'm not talking about how Chuck E. Cheese gets all weird if you don't show up with a kid. No. While Democrats try to prevent mass shootings with meaningless background checks and age restrictions, brave legislators in Wyoming, Arkansas, Florida, and Oklahoma are stepping up to actually do something to keep our children safe. Look.
You will now see "In God We Trust" displayed across schools all over the state. The House passed the bill yesterday. The representative who sponsored the bill cited the recent shootings at Stoneman Douglas in Parkland in her closing speech. Representative Kimberly Daniels called God, quote, the light, and said that Florida schools need the light in them like never before.
Yes. They're hanging signs that say, "In God We Trust," because "In God We Trust" is the part of money that schools really need. This is a smart solution. If we put God's name up in our schools, then He'll recognize our faith and intervene during tragedies. Because, as we know, when people don't specifically give the Lord a shout out, God thinks, geez, they must not really want my help. And instead, He goes and He helps someone hit a bunch of green lights in a row. Thanks for that this morning, by the way. But lawmakers in these states knew we don't need to limit high-capacity magazines as long as we have high-capacity divine intervention. So fire up your Waze app, Jesus, and take the wheel. Next. Yeah, clap. That was Jesus in a truck, goddammit. Let's move on down to America's North Star, Alabama. Football, Bigfoot, Roy Moore, what don't they get right? And now they too have a pious idea to stop school shootings.
Alabama one step closer to displaying the Ten Commandments on public property. The state Senate voting to approve a bill that would allow schools and governments to show the religious rules.
Right. School is a perfect place for the Ten Commandments. It's easy. Most of those kids don't even have wives to covet. But, of course, the crybaby left is whining, demanding separation of church and state. But as the child of 4 divorces, let me tell you, separation sucks. It's about time we parent trap these touchstones of society back together. Because according to State Senator Jared Dial, if you had the Ten Commandments posted in a prominent place in school, it has the possibility to prohibit some student from taking action to kill other students. Yes. Kids need reminders. Make your bed, do your homework, don't shoot anyone. It's a fact the libs refuse to accept. Almost every homicide happens at a location without a don't murder sign. It's just a fact. So Jesus, put on your Carrie Underwood playlist and take the wheel. Finally, I want to turn to a group in Pennsylvania who's taking action on guns by rounding them all up and bringing them to church.
They entered wearing crowns and carrying AR-15 rifles. Members of Sanctuary Church in Wayne County say they're following God's will to honor the Second Amendment. The mass marriage and blessing ceremony was led by Pastor Sean Moon. He and his followers believe the AR-15 symbolizes the rod of iron in the Bible's book of Revelation. Church members summoned army fatigues, sang the national anthem, and when prompted, placed their weapons on their laps, muzzles pointing at the ceiling.
Yeah. Hey, God, you better listen to those prayers because they're aiming right at you. This great idea was brought to you by the World Peace and Unification Sanctuary, which, sure, many people refer to as a cult. But leave it to a free-thinking religion to realize that bringing firearms to church doesn't just protect people, it also protects the real victims. Guns. If we wrap our weapons in the impenetrable armor of the Lord, they're untouchable. The Second Amendment inside the First Amendment, inside property rights, it's a constitutional turducken. Yes. So, no one, not even some teen protesters, can take them away. Everyone is saying we need to protect our kids from guns, but we need God to protect our guns from kids. So, if you want to save your guns, baptize them. Give them communion. Heck, let guns be priests, so long as they're not married or female. So relax, opposers. We don't need to change our stance on guns or even lift a finger. We just need to lift our hands in prayer. And let my sandal-clad beach bro Jesus take the wheel. Oh, honk honk indeed.